Phone call from the other side. In April of 2013, I was on my way to spend a few days in Sedona. I received a request from a new client to schedule an hour Skype reading. This was requested the day before flying to Sedona. I didn't have any additional information from the new client, except that she was seeking answers that would restore some peace of mind. She was having anxiety and sleep problems. I was staying at the Kansas City Airport Marriott Hotel one night to depart the next morning at 6 a.m. for the Phoenix Airport. I had an evening meal in the hotel restaurant and was on my way to the lobby elevator. I was the only person standing at the elevator waiting to go to the 6th floor. In a flash, I saw a movement to my left. As I turned toward my left, I was startled to see spirit movement right there at the elevator. I was so startled that I actually responded out loud, "You scared the F out of me." I was so glad no other person was in that area when this happened. The only impression I had time to get in that brief flash was that he was a young white male. I was so distracted I didn't even get a chance to say "remind me later," as I normally do when a spirit shows me they are there for my help. When the timing and circumstances are right, the spirit will appear to let me know there is a message to deliver. The next morning, I was up and boarding a hotel shuttle at 4:20 a.m. to the KC airport. I was busy getting through security and boarding a flight for Phoenix. I never thought of the spirit visit again. 2 days later, I was setting up my iPad for Skype in my room in Sedona to conduct the 1-hour reading for the new client. Together, we both tried to get Skype working on each end of our systems. Over an hour went by when we decided this wasn't working. The client had a list of specific questions. She said she needed some answers and peace of mind. At that moment, there was a very loud electronic type interference. "We could hardly hear each other," she said. "I can hardly hear you. What is going on?" In that moment, I heard in my thoughts, "Turn the Skype off. Use your cell phones." I was reminded instantly of the flash of spirit at the lobby elevator in Kansas City. The client was willing to have her session conducted by cell phone since Skype wasn't going to be available for her appointment. Before she began sharing her questions, I told her about the spirit visit at the lobby elevator. I realized this spirit had influenced the Skype connection and asked me to use cell phones. The spirit had wanted to use this time to get messages to her and not wait on her to ask all her questions. This spirit identified himself to us. The client told me this young man was the reason for her request for a reading for answers. She told me this young man died under suspicious circumstances in February. It was now mid-April, and the family wanted answers. I knew nothing about this situation and proceeded to share with her what I was hearing from him. He had interrupted the reading when he did because to him, her questions would be answered, but he wanted to tell her his side of the story as he perceived it from the other side. In the first few minutes, he shared what was urgent to him. Before the client could ask even one question, he wanted loved ones to know he had created the circumstances that led to his death because of a choice he made that left behind the troubles the loved ones were going through. He said he had created karma by his choices. He loved his family and friends and was sorry for everything. His priority was to get through to us during that phone connection to give the most important message. His love for everyone and sorry for the trouble he left behind for everyone. He knew his loved ones would want justice. He knew if he had made a different choice, he would be alive and with his loved ones. He also knew it was their choice to pursue those connected to his death. Within 24 hours after the reading, I heard from the client. She said for the first time since his death in February, she had slept better and was less anxious. When I was doing my best to provide the Skype reading, this young man was able to get my attention before we gave up on a reading with a list of her questions, so he could say what he thought was most important for everyone to understand, of which his love for everyone was most important. Also, his responsibility, in part, for what had happened. He didn't want his loved ones to suffer for the trouble he left behind. In this experience, the spirit had to influence the internet connection to get my attention. I just didn't recall his presence at the lobby elevator and the connection to this new client.